What do you do when a single moment forces you to confront a truth you've buried for years? I never thought a Saturday afternoon could unravel me. My wife, Sarah, was swamped with work, her laptop glowing in the study as she juggled deadlines for her latest project. She'd been at it for weeks, her brow furrowed, her coffee cold. I didn't mind. It gave me time with Ethan, our 8-year-old, who seemed to grow an inch every time I blinked. That day, the house was ours, two guys against the world, or at least against a pile of Legos and a half-eaten pizza. Ethan was sprawled on the living room rug, his small hands snapping plastic bricks together with the focus of an architect. I watched him, marveling at how his imagination turned a jumble of colors into spaceships and castles. I've been a distant dad lately, caught up in my own grind sales reports, late-night emails, the kind of stuff that makes you forget what matters. But today, I was determined to be present. "Hey, buddy," I said, plopping down beside him. "What's this one?" I pointed to a lopsided tower that looked ready to topple. "It's a fortress," he said, his voice serious. "For the knights to protect the king." "Knights, huh? You gonna be one of them?" He grinned, his front tooth missing. "Maybe, but I need a sword first." I laughed, and we spent the next hour building, battling imaginary dragons, and making up ridiculous rules for our kingdom. It felt good light, like the weight of the world wasn't pressing down for once. When the fortress collapsed in a dramatic crash, Ethan's giggle filled the room, and I realized how much I'd missed that sound. As the afternoon wore on, we moved from Legos to board games, then to a makeshift soccer match in the backyard. Ethan was tireless, his energy a reminder of how fast life moves. I was out of breath, but I didn't care. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about work or bills or the endless to-do list. It was just us. Back inside, we collapsed onto the couch, sweaty and happy. Ethan's eyes sparkled as he grabbed my old acoustic guitar from the corner. I hadn't touched it in years, not since the days when I used to strum late into the night, dreaming of a life that didn't involve spreadsheets. The strings were dusty, slightly out of tune, but Ethan didn't care. "Play something, Dad," he said, his voice full of that unshakable belief kids have that their parents can do anything. I hesitated. The guitar felt foreign in my hands, a relic of a younger me who thought he could change the world with a melody. But Ethan's expectant gaze was impossible to resist. I tuned it as best I could and strummed a few chords, stumbling through a clumsy version of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Ethan clapped like I'd just performed at Carnegie Hall. "Another one," he demanded, scooting closer. I tried a few more nursery rhymes, bits of old folk songs. Each note felt like shaking off rust, but Ethan's enthusiasm kept me going. Then, out of nowhere, he said, "Play the one Mom likes." I froze. "Which one, buddy?" "The one you used to play when I was little. The sad one." My stomach twisted. I knew exactly which song he meant. It was a ballad I'd written years ago, back when Sarah and I were newlyweds, back when we thought love could conquer anything. I'd played it for her on our first anniversary, pouring my heart into every line. It was about promises to her, to our future, to the family we'd build. But life had a way of complicating things. The song had become a ghost, tucked away with memories I didn't like to visit. "I don't know, Ethan," I said, my voice tight. "It's been a long time. Please, Dad." His eyes were wide, pleading. "I remember it. You played it when I couldn't sleep." I swallowed hard. He remembered? He'd been barely 3, maybe 4 when I last played it. The idea that it had stuck with him, that it meant something, hit me like a freight train. I nodded, unable to say no. As I started to play, the chords came back slowly, like an old friend you haven't seen in years. The melody was simple but heavy, each note carrying the weight of promises kept and broken. I sang softly, my voice cracking on the first verse. Ethan listened, his usual fidgeting gone, his small body still as he watched me. Halfway through, the door creaked open. I didn't notice at first, too lost in the music, but then I saw her, Mrs. Larson, our neighbor. She was in her 70s, her hair a soft silver, her eyes kind but sharp. She'd been dropping off a casserole, something she did when she knew Sarah was buried in work. She stood in the doorway, listening, her hands clasped in front of her. I faltered, but she shook her head, a small gesture that said, "Keep going." So I did. When I finished, the room was silent except for the faint hum of the guitar strings. Ethan's eyes were wet, though I wasn't sure he knew why. I know I didn't at least, not yet. Mrs. Larson spoke first. "That was beautiful, Tom," she said, her voice soft but steady. "You should play more often. It's a gift, you know." I mumbled a thanks, embarrassed. But then she added, "It reminds me of my Henry. He used to sing to me like that before he passed. You don't know how much those moments mean until they're gone." Her words cut deep. I hadn't thought about it like that, how a song, a moment, could become a memory someone carries forever. I looked at Ethan, who was still watching me, and something in me broke. Not in a bad way, but like a dam giving way, letting everything rush out. "Dad," Ethan said quietly, "why don't you play that song anymore?" I didn't have an answer. Or maybe I did, but it was too raw to say out loud. The truth was, I'd stopped playing because life had gotten in the way. Sarah's career had taken off, mine had stalled, and somewhere along the line, I'd let go of the things that used to make me me. The song was a reminder of who I'd been, and maybe who I'd failed to be. I pulled Ethan into a hug, my throat tight. "I'll play it more, buddy," I said. "Promise." Mrs. Larson smiled, set the casserole on the counter, and slipped out, leaving us in the quiet. That night, after Ethan was asleep, I sat with Sarah in the kitchen. I told her about the day, about the song, about Mrs. Larson's words. She listened, her hand finding mine across the table. "You should play again, Tom," she said. "Not just for Ethan, for you." I nodded, the weight of the day settling into something lighter, something hopeful. The song had broken me down, but it had also built something new, a reminder that it's never too late to pick up the pieces of who you are, to make new promises, to keep the ones that matter. The next morning, I dusted off the guitar again. Ethan was already waiting, his grin wide as ever. "The sad one?" he asked. I smiled. "Yeah, buddy, the sad one." And as I played, I realized it wasn't just a song anymore. It was a bridge between me and Ethan, between the man I was and the one I still could be. It was a reminder that even in the chaos of life, there's always room for one more note, one more moment, one more chance to get it right.